Nice. Testing, testing. AJ? Sounds good. Okay, sweet. Thank you. Appreciate that. As of now, we have a meeting and a board member planning to attend. So unless they don't show up, we will convene, and hopefully be short and sweet. All right. One more indication that our audio is working well.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, thank you so much.
Everybody else doesn't.
You're the only one with us today, so. No attendees. All right, so I'll call to order the Monroe County Surveyor Review Board regular meeting, October 27th, 2022 to order. We have, I'll call the roll. We have Rachel Ozer,
I'm here.
Eric Deckard.
Present.
All right, and Todd Borgman is not here, so we have 2 members present and here in person. So we meet the physical requirement and we'll have a quorum. So we'll proceed to approval of the agenda. The agenda is pretty straightforward. I was going to separate the approval of the minutes due to 2 of the meetings. Todd Boardman wasn't here. Since he's not here today, we could group those together. Outside of that, everything's pretty straightforward. So if the agenda looks good, I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve?
Second,
All right, call the roll. Rachel Ozer,
yes.
Eric Deckard.
Yes.
All right, great. Agenda is approved. So we're looking for approval of the minutes. The minutes are pretty straightforward. I know we put several minutes here. I'd be looking to approve all sets of minutes if the board feels comfortable with that and has had time to review it. If there's any more time needed, or if you would like to break them down, just indicate that. Make a motion.
I have not had time to review it,
Neither have I.
but I've almost finished reading the first one.
Okay, well, do we want to just give it a quick moment? The first one, I think, is the most lengthy as far as discussion, and the others just really kind of run through all of the section corner information that we talked about. Initially, I had asked if we could table the June meeting minutes, and then after reviewing, everything looked pretty good. For a moment, we thought we might kind of eliminate some of the discussion that was kind of detailed in the minutes, but after the second review, it seemed to be good to just kind of keep it as is. So those minutes have not been adjusted since our last meeting. Just wanted to make that one note. Donna just glared at me because she took time trying to amend them. Thank you for your time.
Well, that's okay.
I know it wasn't that big of a change. But
Thanks for putting in a thing about Dickie Green's junkyard,
Yeah, really.
because I forgot the name and now it's here on the record. Pretty cool. I just noticed first page of the first minutes, it says Michael Bundy survey under item B, section or paragraph 2, and it should say Mundy.
Oh, okay.
And I had one additional amendment to the minutes. Let me find that. It's the same June minutes, and it says to correct the line, and I wanted to change the word from correct to
Oh, I found it. It's on the second page.
second page.
Third.
Yep, I see.
Wanna change
Right
to
here, there it is. Yeah, I feel like right here, if you haven't gotten to it, I have it highlighted on the screen. It says he said there is room for improvement, but many factors in how to correct the line. I feel like correct is kind of too defined. We're not correcting it, we're improving it based off a lot of comments that we're not trying to make an authoritative data set or a survey product. I feel like the term correct is too precise, and we're correcting it from being wrong to being right. I feel that kind of falls more into kind of your profession of saying this is the corrected line, this is the right line. What we're doing is representing, making a representation of that. So I just would like to change that word corrected to. So that's kind of my thoughts behind that.
I'm ready to second a motion whenever you make it.
We'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the June. Will it be the June?
Well, all four.
All four. So how many we got here?
July, August, September.
July, August, September. Okay. Motion to approve the minutes of the June, July. No, sorry,
June, July.
June,
August.
July, August, and September. So four. Yep.
Second.
Perfect. So we have a motion to approve June 21st, July 19th, August 23rd, and September 27th minutes. I'll call the roll. Rachel Ozer,
Yes.
Eric Deckard.
Yes.
All right, great. Minutes are approved. We'll go to new business office update. Currently, since we're kind of in the midst of a couple different ongoings, I'm not going to provide any update on our service agreements. Just since we're kind of in a fluent stage, I feel like when it's more of a update, because we have actively made decisions, got the support, have everything kind of through the processes, is kind of where I plan to bring updates. Outside of kind of, I guess, the approach of going to an hourly rate versus a flat rate is kind of just the general update with that. I don't really have any other office updates. I'll be out of the office for a nice vacation, a full week off next week, which I'm excited. Do you have any updates? No. So we can open it up to any questions if there's any questions. All right. We'll move along then to certification of corners. Our first corner will be Bean Blossom G17. And G17 is an, let me move the agenda down there. We have a monument record where a magnet spike was found. There was no previous record on file. So the theory of location, I think, is kind of one of the what I would like to point everyone to is it was believed that this spike was set by Mr. Deckard for Indian Corey's type E administrative subdivision plat in 2020. Its position with the location of the spike found in the survey by Todd Boardman retractment survey. So that would be kind of on the first page, the witness number 10-100, so 10100, where we put the measurement that we got with collecting those 2 points, and that matches up pretty nicely with Mr. Boardman's survey. So we felt like this was a good monument to bring to the board for certification. And the next monument, if you maybe want to look at it in conjunction, is the reference point that we collected to see how that fit in there. And that was actually, that monument was previously tied off by Edmund Farkas in 82. And
Do you guys have a copy of the Boardman survey there? Is that-
No, but I can go make one. This is the, this scale survey.
If you just had one that showed that distance that we're checking there, that'd be really good. If
would that
Eric's
be
or-
in our plots and records.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be a paper if you just want to bring it up on the screen.
Yeah.
For me, that would be fine. but-
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Then makes perfect sense. Do you think you're gonna be able to? You can point that one. Section.
If it's, are these always entered in the database, the surveys?
Yes,
So you could go to the database and search by this corner and then
yeah,
everything will be linked.
it should be, yeah,
So that'd be a good way to do it.
just showcase the thing. But I'm on the, no, I agree. I think this is it, was it 2015?
Yes.
Yeah, is that it?
G17 is what
Yes.
you're looking for. That's
Yeah,
G19,
G19.
On
G17.
Yeah, so what's that distance on this?
26, 48, 32.
The,
G,
we
Oh.
want the one to the
yes,
south.
right here, sorry. See, not having an Adobe reader. It's real funky. All right, here's the west line, 26, 52, 44. And 26, 52.76. And
And you
we-
said you think the origin is Eric Deckard survey. Can we look at that one too?
yes. It's gonna be 2014. right? 2020.
Yeah, you said 2020.
It could be in a different section than the folder that you're in.
We're looking at the
Green
previous
Blossom
one.
G17.
Is that it?
The next one.
No,
down.
that's Boardman. It's Deckard. Do we have the?
That would probably be it right there.
Recorded, okay, record date. 22.
It's a reference. It's G15.
We'll have to go down a bit. I'm gonna request for Adobe Reader to be on here, so it's
Reader or pro?
just Reader. Yeah, we don't need Pro. We won't be doing too many Pro edits, but just Reader.
So you don't have to go over this weird web browser thing.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it. It's not
Yeah.
too hard.
Here it says Mike's Bike Set.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah,
We're holding you to it.
it's showing it in the center line too.
In the middle of the road.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I did back then either.
So, yeah,
Reverse says 35 foot offset.
and then on G19, real quickly, one of those monuments. This was a
What are
fun
you
one. I
saying?
remember looking for this, and there's a couple different monuments out there. I thought A was, yeah, so that's where my confusion is. Sorry. There, let me bring up the archive tab.
Yeah, that's where I was kind of going.
So we're on G19 now.
Yeah, looking at G19 and what I was gonna say is point A, I believe, was called out in the archived monument. There was just no magnail set, so we set a magnail, but I believe that that's the same 9-inch utility. Let me bring up the monument record first. Unless,
Is there a typo on this about saying that the rebar is in the center line of the gravel drive 2/10 above grade?
I will have to get to that.
Probably.
It's protruding out.
Of the
The
gravel?
pictures kind of do a little justice of it, kind of poking out.
That's 3 inches.
Gee, hold on.
I'd probably call that flush personally, just because it's not getting caught in tires and stuff.
Yeah, that would be- He got tired as he was driving the
But
rebar.
I do see why you called it that.
It's getting
though.
kind of beat up.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it is kind of like,
but it is almost a cap up above
yeah,
the base, isn't it?
yeah. I was sure that was
You know
typo,
what?
but
Did you,
sorry.
do you think this accidentally got removed from there, with combining the packet?
It might have.
Actually, that's no real issue right there. I can get it to the utility, but maybe just jot a note that we want to put that back.
It's also in the packet folder.
I see what you're talking about, the utility pole, though. It's,
Yeah, utility
we've
pole,
got
yeah.
the copy of
you
the
have it
sheet,
there.
so
I'll
looks
try to
good.
just still bring it up quickly for the public because, every now and then I look back to see how many times this video has gotten hit. Sure, it's only me. No, I actually don't look back. I'm kind of curious. I'd be interested to know if we can actually monitor how many times this video is watched.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'd be curious. I doubt we won't watch it.
I don't think we'll be a YouTube sensation. huh?
You don't think so, huh? I don't know. It depends. I mean, it's getting pretty close to Halloween. If it came in costume. So yeah, as noted, I'm getting all my papers.
But you guys can call
turn
it
around.
however far above grade you want. I should look at the picture before calling it out.
So, well,
Gut check was just,
what are you thinking? Do you think we should rephrase that or
I don't care, you're the one that was there. Well, no reason.
we're,
The descriptor is accurate. I mean, gravel's gonna fluctuate.
Mhm.
okay.
I mean, it more than likely, more layers of gravel will be added and then it will be buried.
Yeah.
So what I was gonna do before we moved on, just since I have these up for the public, I was gonna just kind of show what we were talking about at this point. A here is the same utility pole at
Oh,
north
nice.
50 degrees west.
Okay.
What we have is 42.3 feet at. Does that say 28? Oh, I'm at the other monument. Okay, move down to, there we go. So point A here is the same point. And here's A, it's at north 53 degrees west, 42.5 feet. And what we have back from Edmund Fargus in 82 is north 50 feet west, 42.3. So, and then the fact that it meshes up real well with Todd's survey for the one that we looked at the beginning of Bean Blossom G17. I guess I'd be looking at a motion, unless there's further discussion, looking at a motion to approve both of them, or if not, we could look at it one at a time.
I think this is pretty solid. I motion to approve Bean Blossom G17 and G19.
I have, would want to second it with one edit.
Okay.
On G19 in the equipment section, that is the old note for using the Basin River.
Mhm.
Were you guys using the Basin River or were you using the InNote network?
We're using the note method.
So that note just needs to be
Okay.
fixed. I think it's correct on the, Yeah, you have the correct note on G17, but G19 just has like a holdover note.
Yeah,
So it talks about the V-posts and the Sokia and stuff like that. That doesn't need to be in there. The theory of location is good in this one, in G19. Makes a lot of sense.
Did you guys used to run a base rover with the July?
Yeah,
yes.
Did you?
but then it didn't seem like Cassidy was ready to jump in with post-processing and stuff from the base.
I got you.
And then whenever we trained Jason, we just did it on the network too. With
Simplest,
the idea being that once he got the hang of that, then we could add in
the
the base
base,
some other time, but it's like too much to learn.
right? It's
And
definitely.
especially with nobody around daily to, to help. It's a lot. So
It
he
is-
could probably do the base whenever he wanted now, but.
I've done it once.
But, I
Yeah.
mean,
Because the base is really good for if you're in canopy and stuff, so you can't. The dot network isn't so great.
Yeah.
I will
The
say that
network isn't that great. The canopy for sure.
with Jason here for over a year now, everything is kind of, that we've been trying to get to kind of more of a routine thing. It's really has kind of came a long way. We're really in a good spot of kind of continuing to produce this work and eventually take on more, potential survey equipment use. But
Mhm.
right now, I'm pretty darn thrilled with kind of the capability that and the professionalism that Jason has put into trying to become more and more proficient with our equipment in our garage. So
Yeah, you're doing an awesome job. These test sheets look great. Jason had to teach himself how to draft and stuff.
That's pretty awesome.
yeah,
That's
it's
pretty awesome.
That's really good. I'll make an additional note to double check things moving forward. I was really kind of more just caring at the theory of location and the witnesses.
Well, there's a note about 2020, locating a stone that maybe got moved or something, and so my guess is maybe the tie sheet had been started with an old note or something, and that's
It
how
has.
it got in there.
We went out there and this was one of the first ones that we actually calced to go to the corner. And that was kind of a trial and error kind of thing because they started to use the calc point as if that was like exactly where we had to go. And it was like, no, this is supposed to give us a rough location of that. That turned into a long discussion. And then we actually found a stone at a fence corner that wasn't there anymore on the next visit. So this was started kind of with our former technician. So that's probably why it was a carryover. So thank
Yeah.
you.
It's much easier to overlook it when, it's already been started versus starting from scratch. I find, it's like, so,
Definitely, yeah, and the equipment notes, look, it's not the kind of thing you even read, because it's just standard in the template.
Yeah.
Not getting changed, so. it's
Which I
Totally
will admit is why I
normal to
didn't
miss
catch
it.
it.
Yeah. The only reason I noticed it is because I saw this word Sokia, and I was like, did they start using the gun again? Oh,
Nope.
and it just jumped out.
But with that, we have a motion. I'll call the roll with the condition to update the note in Lawson G19. Start with Eric Decker,
yes.
Rachel Ozer.
Yes,
Great. We'll move on to Richland. S13. S13, we have, I'll bring up the archive one. I think the archive one's nice because a lot of these monuments are exactly the same. Or witnesses. So which one? Side by side. And so I guess point to the theory of location. The iron pipe was previously witnessed by Monroe County Surveyor Kevin Enright on December 15th, 2005, and accepted by the review board December 19th, 2006. The monument record accepted the iron pipe per the plat Doug Curry. Honestly, all we've noticed is more surveyors are continuing to use this location, and the witnesses are pretty much the same per the monument that was recorded. What I like is the measurement game. If you looked at point C, that was our old method. And then now with the Javad and actually setting up at some of the witnesses, it went from 30 feet and 30.2 feet, 30.02 feet to 29.98. So honestly, we did a pretty good job, I think. I'll open it up to the board for any further questions or comments, or requests. I'm not hearing anything. We would be looking for a motion to approve Richland S13.
Again, I appreciate your theory of location and adding the recording information and stuff.
We are also doing
Looks really good to me.
an evolution chart. Is that what? A timeline chart. Whenever we start noticing multiple different monuments, and it's going to be a very nice added document for clarifying of maybe how these monuments change over time. Maybe not the location, just the monument itself. Sometimes we're finding multiple ones that we're tracking, and it kind of it's just going to complement what we're trying to accomplish here, and it's something that Jason had implemented himself because it was too difficult just to talk about it. So we created a way to document kind of the timeline of how these monuments first show up in surveys, what monument type, and if other surveyors are using different types, and we'll just kind of color coordinate those. But right now, we're not dealing with any of those monuments, but just another added benefit. Since
I'll make a motion to approve Richland S13.
Second.
all right, we have a motion in a second. I'll call the roll. Rachel Ozer,
Yes.
Eric Decker.
Yes.
All right, great. Motion passed, and we'll move right on to Bloomington G25. And, I guess I'd point kind of to the theory of location, and also I'll bring up the other monument record that we have on file. We have two. We have a Kevin Enright from 1998. And we have a Stephen V. Fargus, unsigned, undated, but we have two previous county surveyors accepting this, and I will bring up the monument. We actually kind of worked on the theory of location a bit on this one. I will explain that in just one moment.
So this guy here, he's going down in history, isn't he? O'Callahan.
I will say that
You know where he's buried.
our technician had a session on this corner and did not stop until he was able to get out there and get everything he needed to then bring it to the review board. And, I think it would be like a frequent stop on the way back to the office if there was a couple extra minutes he could get to go and look at that. So there's a lot of moving parts, but now we're here to present it. So it's pretty neat. So I will say that from the old archives tied off record, point B, which correlates with number 103004 are the same location, and also point C on the old monument, X in the manhole correlates with number 103002. So we had two existing monuments there, and then a few new additional monuments set. In the theory of location, I'm gonna skim over that one more time. Yeah, at first, there was this mention of an iron pipe as Steve Ramsey survey in 1992 on file. So we kind of added that, and then I think that then kind of lays the framework of kind of the first time we were able to find this indication of this monument. And then in 1998, Kevin Enright found a cramp iron pipe painted orange below the blacktop surface, and set a bright brass spike and plate, and it was approved by the Surveyor Review Board. So I think we wanted just to add that bit of information about the iron pin being below the brass spike. I think it just adds a little more flavor and thoroughness to this. And we went ahead and approached it kind of more on a linear basis of kind of the first indication of that iron pipe, then Mr. Enright holding that, setting the brass pipe, spike, and then also we wanted to indicate that Mr. Fargus had held that witness as well, and then subsequent surveys held that same location. So we thought this was a good one to bring to the board to recertify this record. I'll open it to the board for any questions, comments, requests. And I guess I would like maybe to solicit some feedback about adding that additional note about the iron pipe. For a moment, we talked about just kind of striking it through, but you know, at the end of the day, it's like, no, this adds a little more.
It's good. I like it. I'm
Okay,
glad you
cool.
put it in there. It's on the prior ties. So, I mean, I guess technically you can just
Skim over it, but we didn't.
not put that there, but I think your theory looks, I think it makes tons of sense. I mean, it seems like it has historic research to prove the monument. to me.
Yeah, but we're
Just
keeping
doesn't
that
have,
as.
it doesn't have a perpetuation survey, but
Yeah.
um,
And me and Jason aren't licensed, so we just want to keep that in there. Just
I think you guys are doing a good job with the theories. They're like telling us the whole story, but also some of it's shortened in a way that I like the references on file just kind of being listed with the recording information, and you put the reference survey ID in the one that wasn't recorded. Just everything that I want to see is on there in terms of the theory.
some of
It's a
the
good
Looks
job.
good. Yep.
Yeah.
time I spent on those outside of some field operations.
If I'm just being picky about just feedback in terms of surveying, usually we wouldn't carry stuff to this 1,000 because we can't really measure that accurately.
Right.
So I'd probably just say something like slightly recessed or a little bit less precise personally. That's on the,
What page is that?
just the monument where it says found brass spike and plate 0.002 below grade.
Oh, okay.
It's getting the point across that it's like, it's not quite flush, it's like slightly down, but
Mhm.
that's just like a significant digits
It is.
thing.
I would almost say flush would be ideal, and if you were fine with amending it to.
But if
say-
it, if he, I mean, if when you're there, it just didn't seem quite flush, you felt like it was slightly recessed, because there is a difference, you know, like, is a snowplow gonna scrape it out, or is it like a little bit down?
So if you,
So if you're saying it's a little bit down,
then slightly recessed sounds great.
but that's another one where I sort of read it and think, oh, that must be a typo. Uh, Just because I'm not used to seeing stuff carried out to 3 digits. And it, but then again, that's like not something that would keep me from approving this tie sheet. It's just trying to help you.
Right.
I think it all looks good.
Kind of goes back to kind of amending those minutes from corrected to improved. Give us, ability to improve things, but I would, I guess, be looking for a motion to approve this, but with the edit of slightly recessed versus 0.002 feet below grade. So it would read, found brass spike and plate slightly recessed below grade, 3 foot north of center line of West 3rd Street.
Motion to approve G25 with that recommendation.
All right.
Second.
All right, we have a motion in a second. I'll call the roll. Eric Pickard,
Yes.
Rachel Ozen.
Yes.
Awesome. Motion passed. So this, that was easy. So this brings us to our corner documentation, and these were all performed with Mr. Decker, and kind of still trying to figure out the best way of moving these through the review board. So I think it is kind of what we did with the service agreements. Is there any monument that stands out that you would like to bring up to our attention? Or should we just kind of look at these one by one? I'd kind of address that to Ms. Ozer.
Can I was not listening well, sorry. Did you say this is like a monumentation,
Yeah, corner
Program,
documentation.
not not a perpetuation survey?
Correct.
Okay. And Eric, is it all from one boundary survey that you were doing?
I do believe it did come from one boundary. Let's see here. Do we have?
Or maybe we would want a copy of that boundary survey photo.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through the plats or the in-drive survey projects?
The McConnell survey, is that probably the one?
Okay, then I will go through in-drive to the survey. Or actually, it's one. So there's one where it's to answer your first question. Indian Creek, IO5, IO7, IO9, I11, KO7, KO9, and K11 all are from the same
It's,
survey. So
is this? I'm trying to think. Is this the currently active survey that we are referencing here that has
No.
not been recorded yet?
no, because
We just went through the
the
subdivide.
part of
Oh,
the-
this was the large one.
Yeah,
I got
part
you.
of
I got
the
you.
documentation is required to have it already recorded, just so we
I
wouldn't
got
be discussing anything that's in motion. So you must be talking about another phase. I'm not sure if I should remember. that
Right,
name now.
that's exactly what I was referring to. I wasn't for sure if we was referencing the old one. Now I recall what's going on here. So we did an overall boundary survey for the Keith and Trudy McConnell
Right.
property, but it's been phased out into 2 separate minor subdivisions is what's going on.
Moving
We
going
did,
on now.
yep, and we've got a southern portion of it going down, so good enough.
So here is that, here is this, no, that's not the same. We could print one out if you think that's needed.
No.
I think you can
It's
probably.
not
zoom-
needed for me.
And was there any monument that, and I guess we should have done another quick look over. I haven't looked at this over since you submitted it. You were holding all pre-existing monuments. There was nothing that you were disagreeing with, was there?
No, we weren't disagreeing with anything because, like I said, we had performed this boundary survey and these monuments are what we held and accepted. So
So it looks like a few of these had prioritized and a few of them were brand new
Right.
correct.
in terms of ties. But none of them were monuments that you actually set this survey, because the new ones were like from a 2017
Right,
survey.
right.
That's what I'm getting from looking through here. So yeah, I would feel like if Eric wanted to. I'd listen, but no questions are jumping in.
Right. Well, basically what it amounts to was we was revisiting this survey here for Keith and Trudy McConnell. And they've asked me to come back and subdivide the southern half of this large parcel. And I thought this was a good opportunity since we was going back, revisiting it, that we've hit some of these markers once before, that we're going to try out this new program. And this was kind of our starting point to just kind of see where we would land at.
And did you do
In
all
the
the
road.
eligible section corners on the survey?
Say that again. I'm
Did
sorry.
you do all of them? All the section corners on?
Yeah,
That
everything
were
that show.
eligible, like on that survey, did you turn, and we're just not
Yes,
looking
if
at all of them? Or-
you,
We're
if
looking at-
you're looking at a pretty large majority of them, Rachel. Let's see here, so. We can just kind of break it down. So if you want to try to zoom in and try to find some of these, so this is I-05.
Okay.
That should be to the north. It's probably the leader, probably hidden by our picture over here. It should be the intersection of southeast corner of section 5. So there's line 7, go further north and make your screen go down. Nope,
Totally.
going. Show that one. This one.
That's one of the ones that has a prior.
That's what it was. We just went out and tagged it, but we didn't show it on that survey. So so I stand corrected on that, Rachel. So this one here is not shown on this particular drawing, but it's probably on this other drawing for Keith and Trudy McConnell on that southern portion here.
That 2017.
And was this one here was just for coordinate purposes, I believe.
Well, can we go back to the main plat and just scroll through, John? So
Yeah.
So we can see which ones we do have.
I was just seeing so many red tags on there and
Right.
not that many papers, so that's why I was
Got you.
asking.
So
So
I-07,
I-07 rebar found
yep,
and I-09
I-09,
Deckard rebar found. Let me scroll down to I-09.
scroll down.
Okay, I was just gonna-
Further.
We're not doing any kind of just court.
There you go.
Keep going south.
I-11
I-11.
should be south of the road. Stone fence. Okay. And then jumping back up to K7.
Oh, it's all the 16th corners,
Yeah, all the others.
making it seem like all the red.
I mean, we still temp them up, but those aren't
There you
eligible for the corner documentation.
Right. KO7. So- Okay, 9. Railroad spike. 11 was. And then can you just like do a zoom out to full expense again?
11 is the southeast corner.
Yeah, so those are more 16 cents. What's that one with the little leader coming off it down south? East. Keep going down. So that one would have been eligible. It's not in there. Oh,
We got a Decker reference on the one that wasn't submitted but eligible. And half-inch rebar.
Did MO9 already have coordinates on it? Maybe?
No, this MO9 is right next to us as far as
I
Park
just
is rebar.
can't see it.
So this is what we have right here. Starting with that. Rebar. Above ground, record. Doesn't state what kind of rebar. You got a rebar. So looks like it's fine. We'll chat a little bit about maybe the first one, but I mean, we have a monument record here. You feel like you were able to tie into that, and I think the only thing we want is maybe kind of just some indication that we could reference the survey that maybe you were referring to that calls that Indian Creek IO5 out. Unless you think it's just being covered by the legend, but regardless, that's more of the documentation program versus what we're doing today and just looking at monument records. So
It sounds like they shot it again for this one, just whoever was drafting it
right,
to show it on.
and it might be in the report. We don't need to take, unless you want to read the whole report. We'll talk with you offline.
Okay.
It's not part of what we're doing here today, but
Except that
the
we
corner
would maybe
documentation.
want to change the theory on that one to before we approved it. We might wanna
Right,
change it
that's
to the
what I,
right
that's
survey
what I was,
reference.
what I was looking at there, so the 2022.
So maybe
reference.
you could pull up,
Bring them on. So I'm following. the law.
IO5.
Yeah.
I don't know if these would be in the, I think they would be in the database because all of Indian Creek should be pinned up, so you should be able to access and search
I think
IO5.
we have that one there.
Indian Creek. Oh, in
Yeah,
the database.
In the
Okay.
access database and. Oh, your thing is. No, it's
All
not
right, oh,
Great.
No, it's not. I don't come here to kind of customize anything, so. At least we didn't have like a technical issue where we can't get the owl to work.
So maybe just scroll down to. The newest surveys.
What's Decker? Decker 15.
Was that Ballard the last one?
This is the last one that's pulling up, yeah. 15, so.
So that's Peyton.
So here's the corner portion.
So can we just amend,
Amend it to 2015.
to
But
vote
did
on
you
this
say
one?
that you have another one that is referencing that, you believe?
Are you not looking at it right there?
No, I meant like.
That's the
in
Mary Peyton.
A more recent one.
Right, I'm gonna have to confirm that because it's right now kind of in the works. I need to verify that it
What would
has.
be
legal
nice
error
is
going up
maybe
that
we
far.
could just make a contingent to that. And if not, we could just, well, within the documentation, it has that 3 years. So like this is still.
Oh,
pretty
I
fit
got
as a
you.
Fiddle, if we're gonna refer
Gotcha.
to kind of a 2022 or 2023, 2024 survey. Us referring to a 2015. Yeah, we have the ability to amend the administrative way of handling this in-house, but
Mhm.
right now we don't have that in the way that it's structured, so I wouldn't want to really go with identifying something
The
that's outside of
2015.
that gap. So, I guess I would ask for direction from the board of how to proceed.
I
We
guess
could,
what
we
I-
could add this one and then make a condition to adding that one, and if not, then we'll just sort that business out.
Okay, here's my thoughts on it.
administratively.
Generally, I thought the process is not how I say that word. I don't know why I said it like that.
You've been listening to me talk too much.
I thought you guys normally paid these out after approval in-house, and whether or not they go through the board and get approved
Regardless, yeah.
doesn't, like, the persons would have already gotten paid and then we come and approve it.
Mhm.
So assuming that it happened that way and not knowing how it happened, assuming that Eric already was paid for these, then I would see that as an oversight by the surveyor's office to not catch that I05 wasn't actually on that survey and say before making the payment, like, hey, we can't actually let you do this one because it's not within the 3 years, blah, blah, blah. But since he already got paid and the tie sheet's already made, and we do have a prior survey that we could reference it to, as from a review board standpoint, the tie sheet seems to be in order if we make that one change to the instrument number. And I would think that the fact that it's not to the letter of the corner documentation rules is more of a thing with payment than it is with review board.
Right.
So
and-
that's just my take on the whole
Right,
situation.
and I wasn't trying to lump them together, but referencing the 2015, I think starts lumping them together. Like, we have the ability to do administrative. I think what I need to do is amend the rules with our documentation
Wait,
program to add maybe some.
but that, do you see what I'm trying to say?
No, I do. So
So what, wouldn't that be, see what I'm saying about it's a different thing? Like, did you guys already pay Eric for these?
I believe we have already been paid on this.
So that's the corner documentation program failed. This shouldn't have been accepted through the corner documentation program because that
3-year term,
3-year thing
Right.
wasn't met.
right?
But
Even though that we went back and double checked.
yeah, and
the-
tied it off.
Yeah, we tied it off and shot this and verified the coordinates to it.
It's just not shown on the
Sure.
survey, so you don't have that distance up to it
Right.
on the same survey as the
Right.
others. So,
Right.
but that, do you see what I'm saying about, like,
I
the
no,
tie sheet
I'm
itself
following.
isn't really.
I
Does the
w-
tie sheet itself require that it be, yeah, it says within 3 years of form submittal on here, so I'm just trying to figure out if, like, because
I agree with.
It seems like
I
you, since you
think-
already paid him, it's like, would be ashamed to not be able to use.
I think what
the
we should
record.
do is just maybe table this particular one and maybe move for approval for the other ones, and we can kind of sort anything out outside of today's meeting, and maybe see if you can let us know if you are calling that in that other
Yeah,
survey.
I can verify that for you, Tron. Could you do me a favor? Go back to that original drawing, because I'm trying to see if there's a way, if it's not shown on this one that is in the middle of the process.
Well, I'm
if it
wondering
can
if
be
it's-
added to it,
Well, it's
um,
already been recorded, that's kind of,
right? So
and this is kind of where we're at.
You know, the easiest thing, well, for Eric, the easiest thing might be to just slap a broken line on this and record a revised.
well, what I'm
Survey.
thinking. Go back
We'd
down,
be even willing
go
to
back
record
down
that.
a little bit, Tron. Zoom out a little bit for me, please.
Okay.
There you go. I'm saying that I might be able to, since the other drawing has not been recorded, I'm still waiting on final plat and all of that stuff, is I can add the zig from A going up to I-05. Or, yeah, my letter A, your Indian Creek I-07. Because starting from A, everything south of that is what I'm subdividing. So I don't think that it would be too much to put a leader on the plat. That's going to be,
Right, and then that would fall
but
within that.
we're
timeframe.
waiting on, we're still at the mercy of planning. You
So
know,
that would just mean this one gets tabled until that.
Until that happens.
Till that would
And
happen.
then we put 3 years in there is because we knew that
I
that
mean-
would occur. And I feel like that will iron everything out, and I would prefer and recommend going that route. If,
Okay.
and we'll discuss offline
Okay.
about if.
just
you-
send me a memo of it and I will add it to the plat.
Okay,
And then,
outside of that, you just tell us the recorded number and we'll bring it back to the board with that updated instrument
Right.
number on this. And that should work quite nicely.
So can I make a motion to approve Indian Creek I-07, I-09, I-11, K-07, K-09, and K-11, all in Indian Creek?
It's a motion. Do we have a second?
second,
All right, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll. I'll preference that. As we're going through the service agreement, the surveyor that had performed the work was recusing themselves. I'm not sure if that's how you want to treat this. We only need one vote to approve them. So I'll just kind of state that. and
okay, I'll recuse myself from this. vote.
determine how you want.
Okay.
Okay, so I will call the roll. Rachel Ozer,
Yes.
Eric Decker.
Recused.
Okay, motion pass, and then I will be asking for
Motion to table.
a motion to table Indian Creek I-05.
So moved.
All right, and I will call the roll. Eric Decker.
Here.
All right.
Yes.
Rachel Ozer here. All right, and that has been tabled. Thank you for that discussion. We'll definitely kind of sort that out, and I will move to public comment. I'll check our Zoom window to see if we've been. Oh, no, it's even online, and Donna posted on 2 different locations and on county buildings, and you never get any. So seeing that there's no public here, online or in person, we'll move to adoption of the next meeting date. Do you have it?
November 22nd, which
November.
is just a few days before Thanksgiving. So
We'll probably,
do you know if you're going to be around?
well, is it too close?
That's
Should
kind
we
of too
look-
far.
I know I'm not going anywhere.
My
for
family's not the
Thanksgiving.
most organized on nailing down Thanksgiving dates.
Right.
And I do not have a room reserved for December at all.
Okay, so we'll reach out to you about the date, kind of get your feedback and
Okay.
then plan accordingly. I feel like there won't be too much of a issue with us reserving this room. So with that, call for adjournment.
Perfect.
We're adjourned.
You know, I was just looking at this picture. This picture just kind of shows you what,
AJ, we're adjourned. You're welcome to shut us down. And thank you so much for hosting the meeting.
No problem. You guys have a good night.
You too.
I was just looking at this picture